welcome back to Pokemon Platinum. We're going to... Wow, that's a lot of clones in the audience there.
Man,
I like the one guy facing the back. Like, wait, where's Cyrus? I don't see him.
There he is.
These seats are terrible.
Everyone in fucking Team Galactic has the same identical dyed green bowl cut. It's like,
Yep.
wow.
They even in Gen 7, all the trainers of a certain type look the same. I think Gen 8 finally has like youngsters with different shirts and stuff like that, which is, nice.
They're probably just using like customization options from the trainers.
Which hopefully means that the boys get some decent customization options this time. Game Freak, please. Please give the boys some... Boys can have fashion too. Alright? Like, I think it's X and Y where the boys have half the customization options the girls do. And I mean, granted, the girls probably will get more outfits because girls generally wear more and varied types of clothing than men, but I want to play dress up too, come on. Or just let the men wear the women's clothes. Like, whatever. Who cares?
I think parents across the country would flip their shit if they did that in a game like Pokemon.
Lewis, they flipped their shit out 20 years ago when they had evolution in the
games. I mean, you can do it in Animal Crossing. You could do in New Leaf, I think, as early as New Leaf. You can wear the dresses as boys now. And I think the girls can wear pants and whatnot.
Yeah, but parents aren't paying attention to Animal Crossing. It's not, like, the popular thing with their kids.
That's true. Most Animal Crossing players are, like, in their early 20s.
Yeah.
So, well, I mean, nowadays. I actually have very little idea how many kids play Animal Crossing. Because when I was growing up, at least, nobody I knew was playing it. But that doesn't mean that no kids at all were playing it.
My point is, if it's like a media craze sensation, then parents pay attention to it. If not, it's a video game.
Yeah, they're like... I mean, granted, parents should probably have more engagement with their children's hobbies than that, but...
Well, I imagine that sentiment will change more as our generation gets older and has kids and all that, and we actually, know about games.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, hopefully we could turn out to be assholes.
Well, I mean, a lot of video games aren't really designed to encourage parents to play with their kids.
I mean, Animal Crossing, I think the new one is set up so that can happen because you can finally have two people play on the same console at the same time.
Yeah, and
which didn't happen. And that sounds like it would be a fun bonding thing to do with a child.
And that's something that can be done, but like Pokemon on a little handheld system, you couldn't really sit down with your kid and have like a bonding experience playing this game because it was on a tiny little handheld system. Maybe if you had like a Game Boy player for your Super Nintendo, then you could pull it off. Or a Game Boy player, Super Game Boy for the Super Nintendo, Game Boy players for GameCube. Either way, maybe then you could pull it off. But it's not really a situation that enables parents and kids to, do their thing together. So parents are just gonna glance over this long ass RPG and try to determine whether or not it's age appropriate. And their opinion on that is going to be heavily influenced by hyperbolic media coverage.
Again, Lewis, 22 years ago, they blew the fuck up just because the word evolution was in
Well,
these
yeah,
games.
but there's a difference between that, which a lot of people, religious or not, are going to write off, because that's just like a minority of fundamentalists flipping their lids about it and being annoying about it, and nobody really pays attention to it. Most people just look at them vaguely amused and then move on with their lives. But hitting a hot button controversial topic that isn't necessarily limited to that kind of group is going to produce quite a bit more division among parents.
I mean, I hope that we've come to the point in our society where it's just...
We haven't.
I know, because people still complain about that stuff in The Sims, and I think you could have men in women's clothing and vice versa.
The Sims.
As early as, like, The Sims 2.
The Sims 1. The Sims 1, I think, had same-sex relationships, and there's actually an article that I read very recently about, like, the developers' documents, the design documents, and the argument that the designer made in the document for its inclusion, which was amusing to me because it's basically an inverse of what people say when they're arguing against social justice warrior stuff. The developer was like, if people are offended by this, they need to grow the fuck up, and then goes on to talk about how it would make a more realistic and varied gameplay experience, and it was neat and also slightly vindicating to me.
Sims 4 has some really fun gender options because I believe in that game it's possible to be able to become pregnant and make other Sims pregnant at the same time, which is just one of those dumb things that it's like, sure, it's The Sims, why not?
Yeah, The Sims can get really, really, really silly.
Yeah, so it's just like, okay, yeah, sure, that makes sense.
I mean,
it's
yeah,
The Sims.
yeah, you can play it as a serious life simulator if you want, but it also has an expansion pack that introduces vampires. So it's like, at that point, anything goes.
I mean, I've never really been a fan of, like, the put the Sims in a pool and watch them drown kind of gameplay, but at the same time, if you're playing The Sims seriously, I don't get much out of that too.
Well,
I want to make a really stupid house, and
in any kind of
if I'm doing Sim stuff, I'm doing like Roller Coaster Tycoon, and I read an article. I read from somewhere that someone made a roller coaster that takes 47 years to ride through.
Wait,
Roller
really?
Coaster Tycoon.
In any kind of simulation or management game, you're going to spend quite a lot of time playing it seriously, but you're also going to make a side file at some point just to see how badly you can fuck things up for everyone involved. Like, eventually when you're playing Jurassic Park, you just want to see a tornado rip through the park and send the Spinosaurus through the crowd of customers.
You see, I get more out of seeing, like, playing the game, quote-unquote, as intended seriously for something more like SimCity, because building the city and, like, seeing it prosper, I mean, there's no real end goal in SimCity, but seeing the town, like, grow is kind of its goal, whereas in The Sims, the goal is just to do stuff. So,
Right, Ted, do you want to know a game that'll do both for you?
What?
Like you can play it seriously and stupid shit happens?
Stardew Valley?
No, Dwarf Fortress.
Dwarf Fortress? Oh, I need to play Dwarf Fortress. But also Stardew Valley. Stardew Valley is really good. You should play that.
But no, you can play Dwarf Fortress as seriously as you want, and stupid shit will constantly happen. No, Ristukakis, stop being drunk and pulling the magma lever. That's for enemies invading, not for dumping on your enemies. I mean, not dumping on your neighbors.
Lester rolled a critical failure again. It's time for all hell to break loose.
Dwarf Fortress is the game that's entirely ASCII art, right?
Well, it was. It's got a new art sense.
Aw, but I love ASCII art.
I mean, you can play the original version. It runs on everything.
Oh, I mean, if it's the original version, probably literally could run on a toaster now. So, that's not too surprising.
You just have to sign into a Bethesda.net account.
Oh God. You see, I'm really glad that they're patching that out of Doom, but it made some great memes. Like, oh God,
on the fridge.
Yeah, like one of them. Oh God, I forget which one of them was Mario World, and then after you beat Bowser, it's just like, to finish this game, you need to log into a Bethesda.net account. It's just like, oh God.
Always online DRM is like the one type of DRM that I have like absolutely no tolerance for. Like, I can sort of see stuff like Steam, and Denuvo is only a problem insofar as that it causes actual problems with the programs. But, always online? No. Like, why should I have to buy a copy of SimCity and not be able to play it on my laptop when I'm on an airplane?
It's just funnier and more memey when that game is like literally Doom, which has been around since it's older than I am.
You're not going to prevent people from pirating Doom. They've already done it.
You can play Doom on anything.
Everyone already has a pirated copy of Doom, even if they don't know about it.
I'm pretty sure most computers come with a pirated copy of Doom at this point.
Just hidden somewhere in the file system. If you find it and make a shortcut on your desktop, you can play it whenever you want.
Yeah, IT guy at Windows was just playing their pirated copy of Doom, and then he left it into the OS by mistake.
That reminds me of the story about the farmer who plays Stardew Valley when he's like on the plow, just plowing the field and playing Stardew Valley.
Okay, that sounds really dangerous. Okay,
no,
driving.
Because the machine is automatic. So he just really needs to look up and monitor it every now and then, but it's basically a do-nothing job.
But playing video games while driving is already dangerous and bad enough. But driving farm equipment that can, like, murder people?
Farm
like,
equipment
what if
is very automated these days. Like,
yeah, but what if, like, a kid is running through the cornfield in the second act chase scene of their like, scrappy adventure scene? You never know when you're going to be a side adventure in somebody else's child, like, road trip comedy, you know?
Peripheral vision. They were just playing it on their Switch and talking about how, like, they wouldn't be able to play something like Farming Simulator because it's too realistic. But playing something like Stardew Valley was escapism.
Yeah, because it...
Also,
like,
thanks, Cyrus, for the Master Ball.
Yeah,
Wait,
he
what?
just gives it to you for
Why?
some reason. I don't remember.
I don't... What? Why?
Don't you need this to catch the super powerful dimensional being you want to use to change the world? No? I can have it?
Yeah, because he's
Okay.
still here.
That
And we don't...
He has to be the stupidest fucking evil megalomaniac in history. You know what? I take that back. Donald Trump
No.
exists.
No, like, even in he's not even the #1 in Pokemon. Lysander's still worse. I mean, okay, I guess Lysander doesn't give you the Master Ball, so he has that going for him, I suppose.
Wait,
but
who's Sander?
Lysander.
Gen
He's
6.
the Gen 6 guy.
Oh.
If you want to know his spiel, just watch the Pro ZD. This world is a perfect video.
We've gone over how dumb he
We
is.
referenced that video plenty of times.
Yeah. But I mean,
It's the perfect summary for him. I'm sorry, it just is.
Oh.
like, I mean, he also, like, the character's name's Lysander Roth, but at least Sephiroth is more understandable. Or, like, I mean, I don't know necessarily if he's sympathetic, but
Sephiroth
you get
is...
it.
You mean actual Sephiroth or Denova?
Yeah, Sephiroth is weird because, like, there's a character from the flashback who gets mentally unstable and then goes on a rampage, and then there's the character 5 years later who is completely different in his motivations because now he's just trying to become a god, and there's basically nothing left of the human he used to be.
Yeah, so that's where it's, like, you know, like, Sephiroth is more, like, I like that he has some backstory that makes him somewhat relatable, though. Like, it's not that he's redeemable or anything like that.
Sephiroth is actually pretty cool in Crisis Core when you get to see his human self, like, more. Like, it's pretty cool how he has this dynamic with Angeal and Genesis where they're sort of friends, but they've gone rogue because bad science stuff is happening. And he's just, like, trying to deal with that in his stoic way. And you can tell it's getting to him, but he's keeping it together.
I guess the point I'm trying to make is that Sephiroth's not a very deep villain. He's more about style, but I like that he's not just... You know, he's not entirely tropes.
Yeah,
you know, he's got enough to him to make him interesting outside of just having a long hair and a big sword. You know?
Yeah, but Sephiroth himself doesn't need to be particularly deep on his own because he's not the only main villain of Final Fantasy VII. In fact, most of the game you're dealing more with Shinra than you are with Sephiroth.
Yeah, like there are points towards the beginning where you think like, okay, you hate Shinra, I hate Shinra, we could team up maybe. You know, is something that you might be thinking, because I think even early on, you learn that Sephiroth had bad things happen to him with Shinra, and you might be thinking, oh, cool, new party member, but...
Yeah, it's like, when you first find out about Sephiroth, the party is like, wait, so Barrett's like, wait, so he's a good guy, and the only thing that you have to counter that idea is Cloud shaking his head and going, nah, you don't know him like I do. He's no good guy. I'm looking forward to Sephiroth in the remake because there's a lot you can mess around with in terms of his part of the story.
He's still voiced by Superman.
Oh yeah, just a different Superman.
Yes, but still voiced by Superman.
The only thing I hope is that they don't push him too much into the first part, because he's not really in the Shinra part of the not Shinra. He's not really in the Midgar part of the story very much. Like I don't think he appears in the flesh at all.
He doesn't.
Like I think
he doesn't appear. He's just mentioned by name. But the thing is, this remake is being made in the context of 2019, where even if you haven't played Final Fantasy VII, you know who Sephiroth is, what he looks like, and that he's the main villain of Final Fantasy VII. So trying to keep that same sense of suspense going ain't gonna work. So they might as well give him some screen presence, you know?
Yeah, but I hope that they don't overdo it. I
hope they don't overdo it as well. But I'm really just expecting a few hallucinations on Cloud's part.
I mean, what? No, Cloud's the best soldier in all of Shinra.
He's soldier first class, don't you know?
Yeah, he's great.
He's got that awesome guy Zack's Buster Sword and everything. Wait, what?
Who? Hey, let's go get some chocobo food, huh? My treat.
What happened to Zack, Cloud? What happened to Zack?
Who?
Man,
what?
You know, Crisis Core had some really fucking stupid story elements, like basically everything that isn't about Zack or Sephiroth, but like, I really wish I could play it, and I can't because there's no digital version for my PS TV, and I basically need a physical PSP and a physical copy of the game to play it. For no apparent
Crisis
reason.
Core is the good spin-off, right?
Good in the sense that, well, there's two good spin-offs. Just one of them's a mobile game that was made for old-ass cell phones that we never got in the West.
Okay.
But, like, it's the one that's well-designed in a gameplay standpoint, which makes the kind of stupid-ass story elements easier to take. And you can just sort of brush them off and enjoy the nice character moments, like when Eris shows up and she's really cheerful and fun to be around.
Anyway.
Yeah, part's over. Bye.